All right, we are live.
Hello, welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 454. I'm Otto, and tonight I'm joined with I should have looked. What does it say on your screen, James?
The voluntarist.
The voluntarist. Oh, that's great. I should get some glasses. And I got Jared.
What up?
And Victor Charlie, who's muted.
Hello, good to see you guys. Aloha.
And special guest Megan Walker Williams.
From north of the border.
Yeah, north of the border. Whereabouts in Canada are you from?
Kanakistan.
I'm on Vancouver Island, or we call it Teeswithay, which means Big Island in the Halkomenam language, which is in British Columbia, which is like the west coast or the left coast of Canada, we call it.
The left coast. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty far out there.
Well, welcome.
So welcome aboard. And I think we've mentioned you, or at least James has mentioned you a lot in the past several months about, whenever we talk about Canada, because they're always done something crazy in clown world up in Canada.
Like we need Megan to explain this to us, but
Yeah.
it probably doesn't make any more sense to you than it does to us. So
No.
So here, you have to speak for all of your government's awful things.
But well, welcome and thanks for joining us, Megan. Maybe we can
Thanks
start
for
by
having
just having you give like a brief introduction and just like some of your bio, which is absolutely fascinating.
Okay. So I'm Cowichan Tribes, which is an Indian band in Canada. I was what's called a 60 scoop baby. So I was taken from my biological family and raised in a non-native home back in 1970s. And about 28 years ago, I found my family and reconnected with my community in Cowichan. And I moved home and I got very politically active and got into journalism and writing. I've always been interested in economics. And about 10 years ago, I founded a barter system with my husband called the Tetla, www.tetla.org. And it's an alternative community currency. It's a paper currency rather than a digital currency. And we just founded it so that we could fund language classes. The Canadian government sort of did what it could to eradicate Native culture in Canada for a number of years through the Indian residential school system. And so a lot of the people in my community did not grow up speaking their language, but they always want to learn it. And so I've been involved for the last 10 years in revitalizing that language. And we used the Tetla to fund 17 language classes over a period of 3 years when our language teacher was alive with the Tetla project. Lately, I've been working at the Halkomenam Language Academy in Duncan, learning my language formally on a sort of regular basis, going to school. And I'm also working on a documentary about saving the language. So that's basically my life in a nutshell.
Cool.
That's
So what
awesome.
what is the language and how did this how are
The
they trying to
language- The language is called Halkomenam. It's a dialect of the Coast Salish languages, and it's spoken by the Halkomenam people comprise about 6,000 First Nations people in Canada. There's my band, the Cowichan Indian Band, and then there's the Halalt, Blayaxan, Penelkut, Chemainus, Nanus, Nanaimo, and Malahat bands as well are all members of the tribes that speak Halkomenam or originally spoke Halkomenam.
Now, is it correct that most of these tribes or the tribes out there have not made deals with Canada? They are still sovereign and independent and never capitulated.
Right. 98% of the province of British Columbia is on what's called unceded or untreated land that still belongs to First Nations. The First Nations in British Columbia that never signed treaties are still under international law considered to be have their rights intact. And we've been in negotiations for 30 years now with the province and with the federal government over what the shape of these jurisdictions will be when we do sign treaties. So we are in the process of making a treaty. It's just taking a very, very long time to get to where we want to go with that.
Now, if you make a treaty, what are the odds of the other side upholding it?
Well, my personal stake in doing a treaty is I want to create like mini Hong Kongs, tax-free zones on Indian reserves across Canada. So that's what we're arguing for. Is we don't want money, we don't want billions of dollars in compensation. We just want economic freedom and to be able to extend that freedom to other people. So that's where I'm at with like trying to revitalize the culture and the language of my people. My people, the Coast Salish, never had any kind of formal structure of government before contact. We didn't have the word for chief in our language. We had word for hereditary leaders of a house. The largest political unit that existed in Coast Salish culture was called a Huanachelawam, and that was a big house or a group of big houses in a village. And that was the biggest, like that was the highest that you could obtain in terms of political power over other people, was to be a leader of a Huanachelawam, which was a voluntarily entered into situation. And at any time, if you felt like you were not being properly represented by your leaders in our culture, we were free to Huanitselam, which is to go your own way or start your own big house. So the Coast English had a very libertarian-esque kind of ethos in their culture before contact. And I'm trying with all of my work on language revitalization, I'm trying to revitalize that as well.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's a white pill. That's
So I mean, is there lots of other people who kind of agree with like your mindset on that, or is it just kind of something you're spearheading?
You can read the work of Robert Jago, who's also a Coast Salish journalist. Just look him up. Jago is his last name. He agrees with me about the sort of the nature of Coast Salish culture. That in the Star Trek, if we were to put all the Indian bands into the Star Trek universe, that the Coast Salish would most resemble the Ferengi.
Yeah, my favorites. They're the best. They're the best race in Star Trek universe.
But the way they're portrayed in Star Trek is kind of unfair to them.
Well, that's because they're communist. But we know,
Yeah.
right? We know that the what was the river? What do they call it? The great river that like brings people with needs to, connects them to people with supplies, or I have to look it up, but yeah.
Base Ferengi. Yep.
Base
We
Ferengi.
talked about
There we
that.
go.
Base Ferengi.
Episode 333. All you people listening, we discussed that at some point. I don't remember, but I'm sure we did.
I mean, let's face it. The Federation is this tyrannical, like militarized, like force that goes around the galaxy imposing their will. The Ferengi, they're just trying to make deals, right? They're like
trying to make some money.
Negotiate. Yeah,
They make them sound like the worst scumbags.
Gold-plated. They just want some gold-plated latinum.
So you're saying this could be? It's the exact opposite of a Trudeau town hall. You're saying like,
Okay, do you want to play that town hall video?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was,
We've got a Trudeau town hall that'd be fun
Yeah.
for you to comment on.
You want to look on YouTube for Trudeau doing this to a native protester, saying thank you for your contribution.
Contribution. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what he had a native protester hauled out for the same thing.
Did he mean your children? What was he talking about?
Yeah, what was the context?
What is your
contribution? They were at a fundraiser. So they paid like $25 or $75 for the
so
table.
He's just mocking them because they paid
$25 because they paid $20 to see him and be dragged out. Yeah.
That's $25 well spent, and it's $25 Canadian. So
not much.
Sir, if you
here's
stop
this town
shouting,
hall.
you could stay. Will you stop shouting, sir? Then you won't be disturbing
Can you crank it
everyone
up?
here. Guess not. Okay.
No, it's as loud as it gets.
Have a lovely evening, sir. Thank you for coming out in this exercise in democracy.
Ugh.
Exercise and
Yes,
democracy.
because democracy
It's not
ends and
pretty, but
people
it's the
being
best system
physically
we have.
removed.
Democracy's pretty good. Again. I am trying to engage with you. I am trying to speak with you. You don't respect anyone in this room? Then I'm going to have to ask you to leave this room. Usually it's not that easy. Usually it's harder to get them to admit they don't respect anyone in this room. I
So if we're not
apologize.
Wait,
respecting
so you have to
anyone-
respect people in democracy? Is that
Yeah.
a rule?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Apologize for that. I apologize for the interaction. We'll have to stretch out the time a little more because I don't want you all to be penalized for that. Part of that, the other part of come on,
What a
on,
douche.
Wow.
really,
Holy
He's interrupted.
smokes.
Come
really?
on.
Oh no,
Wow.
well, you're still here. Okay, well then,
We
yes,
need to get
we're going to ask the
weapons
police to
into
remove you.
Canada pronto.
Yes, we're asking the police to remove you both. Time to go. Please remove her.
Shame on you.
I had an algebra teacher in 8th grade once that sent almost the entire class out into the hallway. For
Winston
misbehavior.
Churchill pointed out that democracy is messy. You know
Oh,
what?
God.
This is about. Okay, do you have one quick question? What's your one
She
question?
looks like Italian. Is she Sicilian?
Yes. How do I feel about critical discussion? ISIS. Okay.
ISIS.
Have a wonderful
The hell?
evening, ma'am, and thank you for your participation in this democratic exercise.
Who wants to get kicked out next for democracy?
Right?
I didn't know it was more than one.
I didn't know either. I thought it was just one person.
Means listening.
I
to
think you should
others.
kick out the whole
Will you
Hey, go
audience.
back,
please
go back. We
respect
stepped
the
on
people
that.
in this room?
Scroll back.
then-
Oh man.
What?
What did he just say?
We stepped on it. Listen to this.
Oh man.
This lady's being escorted out.
Free speech means listening to others. Will you please respect the
Wow.
people in this room? No, then please leave. If you're not going to respect the people in this room, you need to leave. That's the rule. Sorry. Yes.
Wait, here, and then he says something. He says, well,
That's it.
it's wow. This is what a sociopath.
Dude.
I mean,
Megan, I've got a question. Did you see the people dressed in native costumes in the front row? Right? Like
Yeah.
these people were clearly positioned as props, right, for his
Yeah.
event. And they're like, bring your drum and make sure you got the right. I mean, do you think does that look a little bit like staged to you, or do you think this is actual fair, like they're just trying to represent people?
I know that Trudeau was at the introduction to the North American Indigenous Games a week ago, and it made news that he was booed in
nice.
what is traditionally seen
Oh, yeah.
as a safe environment for him. But even in a room full, like he got booed by First Nations, and that's rare. That's rare that
shame.
people will do that in my culture.
It's a
That's
shame
good.
that First
That's good.
Nations they're not for democracy. So
I want to know why the wizard
Ooh.
guy wasn't invited to this town hall.
Yeah, that's right.
Where the
Yeah,
fuck
where
was
was
he?
the wizard?
Now,
Wizard
what?
guy.
So you said like on First Nation, it's sovereign territory. So none of the say like COVID madness or the forced vaccinations or
Oh,
the
I'd
travel
love for that
restrictions.
to be. I'd love for that to be true.
So it's
that
still
they-
regardless, like you're sovereign, but you're not. So,
Well,
you're still
sovereignty. You actually got the point. Sovereignty. You're either sovereign or you're not. A lot of people think that you can assert sovereignty. You can't. You either are or you are not. We have not signed a treaty. Therefore, the government of Canada says under the Royal Proclamation of 1763 that our land still belongs to us, and that's enshrined in the Constitution that they needed to respect that happened. That's why the government has come to the table and is negotiating with us. The government's position is that we have these theoretical rights that we're giving up for political realities. I'm saying that the rights still exist and that we're not going to be asking for money. We're simply going to be asking for economic freedom and the ability to extend that freedom to other people in our territory. So I'm an outlier in that I'm not asking the Canadian government for any money for anything. I just want people to be free. And I think the best way to achieve that is to support First Nations who are in negotiations with the federal government so that we will see the benefit of creating these free zones for everybody.
I think that wouldn't that be cool to see a Hong Kong out there? I mean, it's such a beautiful place.
Mhm.
I mean, the culture and the traditions are so rich. The environment's fantastic. You've got access to all the bounty of the sea and the mountains. I mean, Yeah, who wouldn't love to see some economic prosperity out there? I don't want to move to El Salvador, okay?
No.
But I would definitely move to Vancouver Island. I mean, that would be amazing.
Well, we're looking at trying to create a biotech research hub in our territory, and take advantage of the jurisdictional question to make a political reality for that. So that's one of the things I'm working on with some people right now. I don't know if anything will come of it, but that's what. When you talk about this question of sovereignty, I recognize that it's kind of a bullshit thing to claim that we're sovereign. I believe that we are, and I'm acting as if we are until they stop me. And that's as far as I can go with that.
Hell yeah. That's the way to do it.
A biolab, Wuhan Laboratory 2, the First Nation Boogaloo. Let's go.
Okay. There are legitimate, good things happening in biotechnology as well.
Yeah.
We're going to need
It
our
would be
own
nice to not
bioweapons
die of
lab.
cancer. It would be nice
Listen.
to not die of cancer.
Yeah.
Right.
Which 1/3 of people are going to.
You just got to make sure you got to keep all those elites away from investing in the group, in those bio.
Keep the Bill
those
Gates
bio
and
industries. Yeah,
We
keep
need
Bill
to do
Gates
our
out of
own
it.
them
gain
the
of
fuck
function
outta here.
research. No, I want to do my own gain of function research. Okay, like we're letting them create all the bioweapons, and it just leaves us vulnerable.
Oh man, that's great.
So that's still, regardless, even though on the First Nation territories, a lot of the COVID restrictions and all the lockdowns and everything still affected, and the travel bans.
Yep. Just
And,
like everywhere else in the world. I don't know any country aside from Africa and even in Africa, the lockdowns were pretty bad in some areas. So I don't know anywhere in the world that we were free from that.
Well, Sweden, I don't think Sweden locked down, but I don't know
A
how
lot
it
of
was with
borders
vaccine.
closed. A lot of borders closed.
Well,
and
yeah.
that created some pretty severe mayhem, even between provinces in Canada. Weren't they closed? Like for travel, I mean, they were
it
doing
wasn't
some weird
Australia.
stuff.
Kate told us
I even
about
heard
that.
on Vancouver Island that like people weren't allowed to like leave the island and think like, what
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Okay.
We always were able to leave they wouldn't let you go on the oh no, they tried to stop you from going on the ferry if you didn't have a mask on. That was the extent of the.
But it wasn't a vax requirement.
It wasn't a vax requirement. No, they didn't go that far. Although some people were pushing for it.
Yeah,
but even still, that alone is
it was crazy. That's the highway. Yeah, the ferry
like,
system is considered part of the highway, so there was constitutional grounds about not being able to make this a requirement on that basis. So there's quite a significant amount of pushback from. I mean, you guys heard about the trucker convoy, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We talked about that.
We followed that.
It was that was huge. I mean, yeah. So did that affect you with the shutdown, like with the restriction on truckers, like in British Columbia?
I had friends that were part of that were involved in the going on the convoy. And I'm part of. I went to some of the meetings of the Freedom. They're still organizing here because we haven't got rid of Trudeau.
Yeah.
So things are very active here politically when it comes to organizing. People got very busy in the local elections for the mayors and councils. There's been a huge shift in that arena in this part of the world.
So very local, very grassroots. There's in response. That's great. That's great to hear. So yeah, that's I mean, the fact that they could literally freeze your bank accounts for participating. I mean,
they did that to like 200 people.
That's crazy.
Bitcoin users not affected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though they tried to like block certain addresses, right? Like they were like, "Oh, it's illegal if you send money to this address."
Yeah.
All right, Bitcoin doesn't really care. Like screw you.
Well, that's an application that we could use our sovereignty for is for Bitcoin. We're wanting to see Bitcoin mining on reserve with our own source of power supply.
What kind of energy sources do you have?
Well, I could get Charles.
Hydroelectric, all those mountains and rivers and.
Charles is working on an energy project. I could get him to talk to you about that next time or at some other future time. I'm not sort of directly involved in that right now. I'm just saying, in terms of the case of where we should be pushing for sovereignty. I think I have $5,000 Canadian dollars worth of Bitcoin that is the sovereign wealth fund of the Coast Salish people, and I'm trying to figure out where to spend it and what to invest in it. So if you have ideas, let me know.
Well, can you share an address that if anybody wanted to say, maybe throw you some Satoshis, maybe people could chip in?
No,
yeah.
Sure. Okay. I'll get Charles. Okay, I can do that.
Preferably to buy weapons. But you know, that would be up to you.
3D,
you know, like you decide, but you know, like just
3D printers.
Like, want to buy weapons, the 3D printers.
No, what we want to do is we want to create a sovereign wealth fund that is going to create an economic zone of freedom here on the First Nations land. So that's I want to emphasize to anybody listening, we're not gonna.
You're not going to buy weapons. All right. I'll tell you what. I'll still send you some Satoshis. Okay, so let's get that link out there. You know, let's give it the punk rock libertarian bump.
Right.
Okay.
You know, we could if we have it, we could probably post it. We could have a little banner going along the bottom there.
A banner.
Post it
in the chat
I
here.
I could move there.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready. Like
you ready to come?
I'm ready.
Okay, you got to learn the
I'm
language.
just gonna come.
I'll do my best, but
Okay.
I'm bad with languages, and those languages out there really seem unintelligible to me. So it'd be a really hard challenge.
Give us a little flavor of what the language.
Antha, Megan Walker Williams, Tanitsana, Samana, Iquamachin, Slaman, Ai Quanasi Lamnala, Hi, Heitzapka. So I just introduced myself and I told you where I'm from and where my ancestors are from, and I said I'm really glad to be here, and I thanked you by raising my hands into the air. It's just Heichka or Heitzapka, you say to many people.
Heitzapka.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
I could learn that. Sure. That actually, you made it sound like not so bad. But I saw those like street signs out there, like the highway signs, and there's just it looks like a string of like 27 random letters, and they throw in like the number 7. Like I'm supposed to
the upside down 7.
Yeah, an upside down 7 in the word like.
It's just because there's a reason for all of those extra words or extra like ways they write it, and that's because there are extra sounds. You know, like when you're talking Yiddish, you have like a for chutzpah. You've got like a sound. That sound is XU in Hulkaminam. You don't make that sound in English. You only make it in Yiddish or Hebrew or in Hulkaminam.
Man, Jared's gonna be all right out there.
Yeah, I'll get along easily.
You'll be with your people.
I consider the people of Israel to be tribal people.
Yeah, I mean, there were the 12 tribes, right?
The 12 tribes.
That's right.
Man, this is coming full circle here.
I know.
It's happening.
Megan, could you comment on the MAID program?
Oh, geez.
We got it made in Canada.
Yeah.
We got it made.
Oh,
What do you get?
So my understanding is that there have been 20,000 people murdered by MAID in the last 2 years in Canada.
And what's that acronym?
MAID stands for Medical Assistance in Dying.
Wow.
Basically, government subsidized suicide.
Yeah, they give you a hot shot and they kill you. And they've started to open it up so that it's not just for people who are poor and suffering from an illness that's fatal, that's going to, that's terminal. They're going to open it up to people who are mentally ill. And I don't understand how that's any different from subsidizing suicide for people.
That's evil.
How do you know if someone's mentally ill? It's
Isn't
it's
this
hideous.
the inevitable outcome of government provided health care?
This is the inevitable. This is.
I mean, it's like, look, we only have so many resources to hand out for free, so we need to make it, if we can get you to commit suicide, that's a case solved for cheap.
Right, and they are trying to make that case. That has literally been a headline that I read, that they would save $2.3 million a year by implementing. So
And you said it's the stats
it's very
in your
easy
area.
to get. It's very easy to get. Like a friend of mine, I was just told they asked for it and they were able to get it within 3 days.
And they went through with it?
They went through with it.
Jesus Christ, how old? What was their deal? Like,
it was
what's
their
background?
mother, and she was in her 60s or 70s, and I guess she was incontinent and had ALS. And ALS will, I mean.
Yeah, I mean that's a slow death. I mean, but still though, it's
So it's not something that really lends itself to fun and chatty conversation. It's a very I take it as someone who struggles with mental health issues. I take it as a real threat. You think about what it's like where 60% of the people in British Columbia can't access a doctor, a family doctor right now. In British Columbia, that's like 1 in 6 people don't have access to a general physician. They've got to rely on walk-in clinics and emergency rooms.
They're just like they don't care.
There's a year-long wait list to see a psychiatrist here in British Columbia.
Wow.
And if you do get a psychiatrist, the only thing they're going to offer is to, I think 30 to 40% of all people under the age of 45 are on some type of SSRI.
Fuck, and that's all big pharma just pushing that shit, and these therapists are just they're the rapists. They're just pushing this, and oh god, that's awful. So you're saying that the healthcare north of the border isn't all cracked up?
Oh god,
it's not what NPR says it is.
I've lived in both the United States and Canada, and I would definitely prefer the American system. I mean, in the American system,
and our system's
some
fucked.
people, your system's fucked, but at least you've got access to doctors.
Barely.
You can see a physician.
Honestly, though,
you can go to a walk-in clinic and be seen and get an MRI.
That's true, but I think that reputation is also waning. Now that Big Pharma's pretty much captured all the doctors and they're bribing them, like we don't really know who we can trust anymore. Like even family physicians were compromised during COVID. So now we have to look at the whole thing as like, I don't even know who to believe here.
They're so captured by Big Pharma, you can't.
Yeah, it's so, like what's worse, to wait 6 months for treatment in Canada or to be given the latest pharmaceutical product, like promptly in the US? I mean, I'm not really thrilled with the options in either situation. Right.
I just know that when I was in the US, being in a hospital, you're actually treated like a human being, and in Canada, it's not. It's the worst. I've seen wait rooms. I've heard of wait room waits as long as like 26, 28 hours to see a doctor. And that's not even in the height of the pandemic. That's just like business as usual right now. It's pretty bad.
Is the insulin free in Canada?
It's not. Nothing's free. We pay for everything. We just pay through the government, through taxes. I think it's 1/3 of our government spending each year is on healthcare for all the people.
And the other 2/3 is spent on gender reassignment for children.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I don't think it's that much.
Yeah, they'll fund that shit. They'll fund that butchering children, but God forbid.
Is that Trudeau guy? I mean, does he have any support? Like, I just can't imagine anybody actually being like, oh, he's our guy.
He's the least popular prime minister in 55 years, according to
even like the people that aren't like us, but just to say the people that would normally even I don't know, the leftists, the communists, whatever. Does he have actual people that are like,
yes.
I'm gonna go canvass for Trudeau? Like,
he does.
Do they put on blackface when they go door to door for him, or
stuff a banana down their pants? Did you see that?
No.
He had a big banana down his pants.
Oh, at the gate, was it at some Pride Fest or something? And
yeah, and he was dressed in blackface, and
let's
he
find
went
it
like that to the camera, and he had a banana down his pants.
See, well, in
And with
America,
that, I'm going to have to leave, guys.
That's how you have to
what a
win
way to
the
leave
gay vote. You know.
well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your
Thanks,
stories.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, where can
Oh,
people
hell yeah.
follow you? Or
Okay.
do you have a social media presence, websites we can check out? Anything?
I'm Meagiec. I'll put it in the chat. MEAGHIEC on Twitter.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay,
Well,
thanks, guys.
thank you so
Take
much.
care.
So great
Hey,
seeing you.
Good
Thank
to see you, James. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
Nice meeting you. Awesome. Holy
Wow,
shit.
that was way more informative than I thought. Like,
Yeah.
like just man, like that's.
Shit, I've been trying to get her on for a year, and you're like,
I know. Well, I just, like it's a Canada centric, we're but we've been so much more international lately.
I know. Well, she's just so cool. I knew that getting her to tell her story would be fascinating.
And like, I didn't realize like those practices of taking children in Canada, like away from First Nations people, like that was still going on up until like the 70s.
That was, yeah. I think she's younger than I am. This isn't ancient history. This isn't like, back in, when they were,
Trail of Tears or, 100 years ago or 200 years ago. This was.
They were, it was literal genocide, trying to stomp out, just erase their entire culture and to make sure that it just ends. That was their strategy.
And
cultural genocide, at least.
Yeah. It all starts with culture, because you figure like, it was like already instilled in them, like to live as sovereign citizens, to live, what if you're a tyrannical government, wouldn't you want to just stomp that spirit, remove that? I mean, that's what radical tyrants would do.
Well, especially when you have the kind of philosophy, like their traditional philosophy, where it is a voluntary structure, like it is a governance, but it's a voluntary community, and it's enshrined in their culture that you have the right to leave and start your own house at any time. If you don't like the way you're being treated under the house that you're in, you have that right of to separate. And I wish we had more time to hear her stories about like some of the traditional laws. Very few laws at all, but private property is absolute. Is one of the things that I remember. So there's hardly anything to actually be disputed, but you just can't fuck with other people's stuff. It's like
pretty simple.
Yeah.
Kind of learned that in kindergarten, but but well, yeah, that was amazing. So what else we got in Clown World? There's so much. Like, where do we go from there? I mean, Otto, you had a big tweet. Speaking of
Jared,
Clown World,
pull this up. We got some punk news to talk about.
Yeah, we'll actually talk some punk.
Kind of shock the community. I mean, this band's not really the best, but they're kind of personally like one of my favorites, just because like how cheesy they were and how much like I listened to them back in the day. They're not, but yeah. So the iconic feminist quote unquote punk band Anti-Flag breaks up, deletes all social media after lead singer Justin Zane is accused of rape on a podcast. And this was like coming from this would be one of the last guys you would expect, just because he is the most corporate-y, left-wing. I mean, this guy was bitching. So Anti-Flag was bitching when we were removing our troops from Syria, because he said, what about the Kurds? You have to protect the Kurdish women. There's women fighters and you need to protect these women. Like, that's literally what the rant some of these guys have gone on. So they've jumped the shark year. They had some like base shit back in the day, but they've jumped the shark so many years ago. And so for him to, apparently this girl, like, so, I wanted to dig. I'm like, what did she say? Because a lot of things could be like,
do we have the docs?
Well, he didn't have, so I have it here. I didn't post it, but I have it here. I read, and sometimes,
I mean, if the accusations were baseless, they wouldn't have deleted everything.
Yeah.
Right? Because pretty much, because in the podcast, she was on this podcast on July 19th called Enough. And this woman, Christina Sarahati, she's like a social worker from New York. She said that like, this is her accusation was like, he lured her back to his hotel room, pilled her with alcohol, and then locked her and assaulted her in his room. And apparently he freaking like held her and like choked her and held her down in the bed while she was like half conscious.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So it wasn't like he didn't like ask for consent after
took the
we
rubber
were
off
midway
halfway.
through. Yeah. Like there was nothing about this. So this was just like dirty ass scumbag shit. So I thought that was really, really like it blew me away when I heard that.
Yeah, to Babs' point, if they wouldn't delete everything if they thought like, oh, that's our boy. Like this is just a he said, she said. This is like, oh yeah, we're fucked.
Because we know there's a lot. Yeah, we know there's a lot of fake accusations.
Bill Cosby punk.
But you know what? The fact that it was a feminist for some reason makes it seem more plausible. Like I don't know why that is, but
because that's how they hide their misogyny. I'm a feminist.
It's right, like just the way like these these people that are so presumably obsessed with racism on the left are the most racist,
fucking vile people. Yeah, you catch them at the right moment. You'd be like, the fuck just came out of your mouth? Like, what did you say? Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
And then they virtue signal. But then if you catch them at the right time, or you're just like they let their guard down and it comes out, and you're like,
all the time.
Fuck these people.
Malcolm X knew it. Like it's
just fucking the white virtue signaling liberals, just white knighting all the time. Like these are the people you need to be fucking scared of. These are the people you need to worry about with.
But anyway, so another punk band like goes belly up.
Yeah, usually in pop punk, it's always the lead singer is always
gets fat
with an underage girl. That's usually what happens in the pop punk scene. But this is he's a believe all women guy. So
did you guys ever follow the band X? Remember X?
Vaguely, it sounds
band LA whiskey a go scene.
1972. Babs was there, front row.
Well, now what I'm thinking is that now that Twitter is X, this band should they should just start cashing in. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, Elon, you got to pay us if you're going to do this X thing. Maybe that band's not around anymore. But I thought that's you guys are into punk, but
I'm doing a little.
I guess
deep
they're too
dive
old.
here.
It's a little too old.
Oh man, here we
go right now.
But man, because I was thinking, like, I'm sure he has some funny ass quotes during the Me Too movement.
Oh yeah, we could find.
I wish I could go. I should go dig. I should go dig on those and find them and just laugh.
Yeah, next week, or maybe after hours. After hours, we'll go in the Wayback Machine.
Let's make it a point not to just make jokes about. I mean, the poor woman was assaulted, and like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think that's important to recognize.
All about him. I mean,
she deserves justice.
Right. And that since the jokes aren't about her, it's about the hypocrisy of these people.
I know, but it's like sickening that kind of shit goes on.
It's not like I told a black woman to go pick crops for free, okay?
Yeah, you're referencing the New Hampshire libertarians. What?
Oh wow, yep, yeah. Let's jump into this one. So that was another topic that hit this week. Was Nina Turner? Fucking like she's out there. She spits off her Marxist nonsense all the time, talking about insulin. Like
insulin should be free, medicine should be free. She says. So how does the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire respond?
You read it out.
Yeah, Nina Turner picking crops should be free. And I mean,
I think it's on point.
It's logically
strategically questionable, but on point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, strategically questionable, very autist, very hard to try to explain to individuals that aren't to our levels of libertarianism. But
would you call this brutalist? Like it's I don't think it's going to win a lot of people over, but it is absolutely the point that needs to be made, right?
Yeah.
That like, no, you can't force people to, if you force people to pay for your shit, that's called slavery. Okay. And make the connection. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what this does in a short, concise tweet. So I'm saying good job, Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Like, you know what? It's edgy. It's people are going to be pissed, but it is on point.
Yeah. And it had libertarian trending for a couple hours on Twitter or now X, whatever the hell it is. I mean, that's the first time.
Nina Turner. who the hell, I mean, like we're supposed to just accept all of this commie bullshit,
Right?
Right. That's the thing that
without
pisses me off.
responding in full force.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
She
Gloves
preaches
are off. You're a freaking communist. Like you're
Right.
like trying to destroy civilization. Okay, we're not eating the bugs.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. That's the other.
Okay,
aspect
here's another clip.
Yeah.
Gab, I put a clip of you on Twitter from last time. Should we watch
It
it?
was on Instagram. I saw it.
It was on the Insta, yeah, not on the
so I
Twitter.
put on Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, we could pull that up here.
40 minutes.
Post it, post it in there, Jared. This was Babs spitting from last week's episode.
But,
so if you're not tuning in or listening back, you're missing out. So
I'm posting in the chat, Jared. If you wanna, it's just the most recent one in the chat about Spike Cohen. Spike Cohen really did a good job, kind of nailing down.
He nailed it. He made the point, but in a more fun way, or at least less offensive way, I guess.
If you want to pull that up,
What did he say?
Read that real quick.
Yeah.
So, cause she's going on talking about she was like, she made a post in January of 2022 saying the minimum wage should be $25 an hour. Poverty is radical. Fighting to end it is not. And then literally a month later or 2 months later, she made a post saying we're paying our canvassers $15 an hour. Shipping in $15 right now puts a canvasser on the doors in Greater Cleveland for an hour. Can you pitch in? Like, you're so stupid. And so this is where Spike kind of went back at her, and he made, and always the best way Spike does. He goes, the demand is always there, quotes, for everything. Only a free market allows supply to sustainably meet demand. So things we need are affordable and plentiful. I would be happy to discuss this with you live. And as always, you can choose your pay for your time. 15 hour, what you pay, or 25 an hour, whatever.
beautiful.
God bless Spike Cohen. Okay, the LP doesn't make him the presidential candidate. They have missed.
They're
the boat.
retarded.
Because he's got the right amount of I think he's on point edginess, but without necessarily just exploding people's minds, without detonating people before they even hear what he has to say.
That's the thing, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the after hours. I love New Hampshire. I love their tweets. That was concise, to the point. It was very Trumpian. It got people fucking talking.
Yeah, it got trending.
But the other thing is too, some of you are up in New Hampshire and you never talk to anybody, but you talk to only white people. So
white people in New Hampshire. Not just white people. White people in New Hampshire.
White people in New Hampshire.
They don't have right.
It's they don't have to
very
live
white
in,
up there.
Yeah,
they even have the White Mountains up there.
Right. So it's very white up there. Very white. Okay. So
this was all in response. I didn't see this the tweet underneath. So Nina Turner, she's going off on she was ever since they made that post, she was just posting all this bullshit. She said, reminder, healthcare can never have a free market because demand is always there. It's unethical to profit off illness. Insulin should be free, medicine should be free, healthcare should be free. Healthcare workers will still be paid.
She needs to be dunked on continuously.
Oh, yeah. She's an awful human being who spouts off her Marxist bullshit that leads to shortages and which will inevitably kill hundreds of thousands of millions of people, which already have in other nations.
But then
so for some reason, that's worse
hide
than
behind
selling...
racism. What a coward. What a coward.
Yeah.
Fucking coward.
Wait, so she says healthcare workers will still be paid.
Yeah.
By who?
Right.
But she doesn't want to talk about that. Taxes.
Who would you like us to take that from? Nina?
She keeps advocating, and that's the problem. That's the fucking problem too. It's good to engage with her, but there's so many times it's like, no, gloves are fucking off. These are fucking communists. You cannot be kind of Lolberty and kind of like, oh, Nina, I'd really like, no. She honestly,
please sit down and consider blank. You need to
she's good on war, but how many socialists do we know or commies that are good on war issues? But then you get into economic talk and it's like, goddamn, no, fuck you.
We need to ridicule them in this area because we love them. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't help them to sort of pander to them and to act. It's kind of like saying when somebody's like, oh, I identify as a chipmunk, and they'll be like, okay, you're a chipmunk. Let's all pretend you're a chipmunk. You're not doing them any favor by playing along with their delusion or acting like it's legitimate.
So, dude, your point is so solid. Well, your point was so solid, Alex. Like these people that we associate, like I'll stand shoulder to shoulder. This is why it got me really pissed off about the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Like, I'm sorry, everyone was like, "You're standing with communists." Okay, yes, I'll stand with a communist when it comes to nuclear annihilation.
Yeah,
I'll stand right next to a communist and support being against that. Sorry, but you know what?
Keep your eyes on your pockets while you do it.
Right. If this was an economics conference, I would be like, "No, you're all scumbags and you all need helicopter rides." Like that. That's what I would,
right. Just because we're willing to work with them on anti-war issues doesn't mean we won't at the same time make fun of them for being horrible communist scumbags.
And it's good to dunk on people like this on Twitter, but at the same token, don't be such a fucking lolbert and actually think anything productive on engaging with these individuals, because the money from the military industrial complex,
though. But I think, what about the onlookers?
Very true. That's a good point, Babs. There is, that is, because the fact that it was trending on Twitter, the fact that now it's like it just opens up more and more conversations, and people are seeing this, and it's like, in the long run, that's a white pill.
It's an asymmetrical warfare situation. There's way more of them than us. So when you consider the impact that New Hampshire libertarians have had with a minimum of resources, right? Yeah, and probably just like a handful of smart asses, like just carrying the day, like.
I mean, it was a base tweet. It's just, it almost ruined my relationship.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the after hours. I thought, but it's just like, you get a couple beers and you start like, it's like, all right, hey, this happened this week.
You start mansplaining the racist.
You have to white-splain it.
Listen,
try to white-splain or mansplain away New Hampshire's subtle racism. But I'm like, but it's fundamentally sound, but like, fuck.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the after hours, but yeah, dude.
I don't see her being a big fan of that tweet.
No. My girlfriend was not a fan.
It's funny because
oh no. Otto's basement.
We'll never know. In the meantime, let's play this
back. Oh, so here's Babs from last week.
Yeah.
Look, I'm wearing the same shirt.
People walk around like, "Oh, wow, it's our sacred duty." Oh,
like, what a joke! If you're really walking around acting like you're going to vote to change something, you're just a child at this point.
Well,
you are wearing the same shirt, though. That's hilarious.
Is it laundered?
Is that your Monday shirt?
I swear I have more than one shirt.
Babs had to cut back since he put the deposit on the Cybertruck.
Yeah, Bidenomics out here. Babs is down to one shirt.
Speaking of, I heard the first production Cybertruck was produced.
Really?
Yeah.
For who?
I don't know. But I'll believe it when people are actually able to buy it. But
he's back.
Yeah, I'm back, son of a bitch.
Yeah, we got Jared here. Jared's dying up here. He's got COVIDs. He's got I don't know.
There's been this cough thing that's been going around, and I know everyone's getting it now. It's not COVID. It's going around, and everyone. It's like this lingering cough that everyone just can't shake. Like I had it for like 2 weeks. I had this cough I could not get rid of. My kid, now my daughter has it. It's just going around, and I hear people even.
Did you have a fever? Did you have a fever too?
I had no fever, but I just.
So mine started off like almost like COVID. It kind of felt like COVID, like fever.
COVID.
I mean, I tested. It tested negative. Man, it could have mutated. Could be a shitty.
Have they announced the next pandemic yet? Maybe
they did. Yes, they did. They did. It dropped today. Who announced there's a deadly
West Nile?
There's a deadly form of COVID that they found in Dubai. I don't even know where, but it was in the Middle East. Yeah, Abu Dhabi, where apparently it was transferred.
Let's quickly get that into a Ukrainian biolab and see if we can make it more contagious.
It has a 36% mortality rate, according to it.
That's just what they've been looking for. Like, let's roll that out to the kids. Let's get that going.
But
here we go. Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS-CoV, World Health Organization. Middle East. This is this was last last year. But no, they just I
Totally
saw it on
not
Twitter.
ad leak this
Or
time.
X, whatever it is.
on
Totally-
Twitter, so it had to be
totally.
true.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. I saw it today, but
I saw it today too. It was literally right before we
Hold
came
on,
on. So I had no time to, like,
band.video.
no, I mean that's the thing. But there's something going on. I mean, yeah, it's probably that article could have been bullshit. It could have been the start. Who knows? But there's something going on. Like so many people are
this
sick.
is proof that RFK is wrong about COVID attacking, not affecting Jews as much.
Yeah.
So
So
this is
yeah,
proof
'cause
right here.
Jared-
He's wrong.
Yeah. Jared being sick is Oh my
Did you guys
god,
hear about
dude.
that?
Yeah,
What's
and
that?
that's the shame of
RFK
so,
said that Chinese people and Ashkenazi Jews are less affected by COVID, and it's by design because Chinese, which is true, the Chinese have been experimenting with DNA specific viruses. They've done that. That was kind of.
I mean, where do you think all your 23andMe or the 20, whatever that is? Like, where do you think all that fucking data is going? It's going to like sweatshops, and they're trying to like, who knows?
You guys
like,
see this? Did you guys
Chinese
see this
biolabs.
headline? RFK vows to back dollar with Bitcoin, exempt BTC from taxes.
Yeah,
This is on
there's
Coindesk.com.
like it's a start. Like I saw people going like, "How dare you back the dollar to Bitcoin?"
Whoop-de-doo, you can
community-
promise anything when you've got zero chance of being elected.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like, I
Say
mean,
you
it's
have
great
zero
to see it
chance.
affect these things. Bitcoin backed currency, fuck off. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like Bitcoin doesn't need to be backing anything, right?
Yeah.
Just get Bitcoin. Who needs your stupid Bitcoin backed currency? Like,
I knew this would set
Real.
James off. I knew it. How did I know? I saw it. And I was like, James gonna be so mad at this.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's gonna save.
But I mean, to play
JP
status
Morgan.
advocate,
This is
status advocate, if you started backing the dollar with these things, it kind of leads into like, okay, well then eventually, why do you need the dollar for? Let's just get rid of the dollar.
So this could be the candidate backed by
Like it could be like the reverse of 1971, right?
like a reverse Brenton Woods,
Yeah.
but a Bitcoin Brenton Woods.
Well, he says here, real finite assets such as gold, silver, platinum, and Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen.
If your
And I'm
goal is
not-
to preserve the empire, it's probably a good idea.
He'll be another dead Kennedy before he gets a chance. To do that.
No, but seriously, if you
Another-
if you want the
no.
empire to survive long term, that's probably a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Instead of this like
Yeah.
sort of like short term looting of the dollar that they've been doing. But I don't want the empire to survive. So as soon as
Yeah.
like, just get Bitcoin. Who cares about this stuff?
Yeah.
Or gold.
Agreed.
Get your own gold. Get your own Bitcoin. Get some chickens. I mean,
Get your own Tetlas.
seriously, that's got more legitimacy than petrodollars at this point.
Yep.
Dude, it's all collapsing. It's getting goofy out there.
Dude, prices, everything is so
Dude,
fucking
it's so fucking
expensive.
insane, man. Like
Except for at the Dunbar. Dunbar's got great prices on beer.
dude,
I was getting drunk off of $1.60 16-ounce Natty Bows.
I think that's why we could talk about it on the after hours, but I think that's why I got a little lit because it was like,
You think?
yeah, I was
You
like,
and Tierra.
I know, because I'm like, what the fuck? $2 Yinglings, let's go.
Dude, so they had heavy seas. Heavy seas was only $3.50. The loose
Yeah.
cannon for a bottle.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, you just
We'll
gotta worry
talk
about
about
the
it. I was
thinking
drug
about-
addicts and-
I was thinking about surprising you guys and showing up, but then I was sick.
oh man, that sucks, dude. We'll talk about it in the after hours. I think we should
we'll talk about
take
the
it over
rabbit
there
in
in
the
a little
hours.
bit here. Do we got anything to close us out?
Yeah, man, we had some other stuff too, like that I wanted
mean,
to talk about. I can't.
I'm
we
drinking
could
a
all had it
special
up.
beer just for the Barbie movie release. It's
Oh
called
god.
Berry Pink. Yeah, from
Very-
Treehouse.
Yo, how about-
yeah?
Yeah, how about that?
So is that
Everyone's like,
legit? Yeah, everybody's losing their shit about this movie where politicians are just pandering. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I don't know. I want to hear a good libertarian critique of this movie before
Of
I
Barbie?
go and see it. Well, Barbie, I've
Or
heard
Oppenheimer?
so many different things about Barbie, but I'm talking about Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I'm planning on probably seeing it this week if I feeling better.
Yeah, I heard that the the movie itself is pretty like awesome. The experience of seeing it and like
Yeah.
the sound and like you should
That's the thing.
totally
It's
see it in the movie theater.
I only go to see movies in the theaters that are like made for the theater. Like they're only shown in IMAX, like that kind of, or they're mainly shown in IMAX, like that kind of shit. Otherwise, what the
Last
fuck? I'll
time I
just
saw
watch
an
it in my
IMAX
living room.
film, it sucked. I saw one of those Star Wars films on IMAX. Maybe it's from this was like 1974 technology. Like I don't know, but it was blurry. It was not crisp. Like I think there's better like digital high res. Like I don't know.
Depending on
they're
the
like
Star Wars
HD
movie, that might be the
theaters.
problem.
Yeah, it could have been a problem.
Like you're better off with your. I'd rather watch it on my 4K TV at home. Like seriously than. But
yeah, no, I hear you on that one. But I just like I haven't been to the movies in a while, so I might want to see something.
The thing
like
that you can't really get at home unless you build out a theater is like the sound,
especially if a nuke going off. That probably
right, exactly.
Like, that
apparently
might be
there's a
worth
scene.
it.
That's what I'm saying,
Just
man.
to go
Like,
to the one that has that ridiculous sound system that is completely
Yeah.
annoying most of the time. But
right.
it would be might be perfect for Oppenheimer.
Yeah, apparently there's like a real good jump
Explosion.
heavy music scene, or where the sound goes off. Kind of.
I think it'd be neat if they had like a blinding flash for the
Like-
audience and
Well,
maybe like a
I'm just saying
mild radiation dose to make it like a more realistic
They
experience.
throw like a flashbang
Yeah.
into the crowd.
Apparently, it was like a jump scare almost, but
What?
it was but it was really crazy from what I heard.
You're like, oh, I forgot this was about a bomb.
Hey, have you noticed that people are like there's always the conspiracy people that are just one step a little too far, like the ones
Alex.
that are talking about
Wait,
that
what?
Sound of Freedom film, and they're like, oh, that's just propaganda to chip your kid. You heard this?
No, I've not.
I keep seeing this. People are like, oh, the Sound of Freedom. Oh no, they're just trying to get your kids chipped. Don't fall for it.
I mean, well, dude, I'm telling you.
Is there something in? I said, is there something in the film that
Look.
says, like you should chip your kids? And
No,
they're like,
it's not
well,
that, but
no.
it's problem reaction solution. So all these Trumpers, like literally on Truth Social just this past week, Trump announced after this movie just came out, he announced that as president, anybody with charged with child trafficking will face the death penalty. So how many people within that camp are all going to be worked up? I'm telling you, problem reaction solution.
How many times did Trump go to Epstein's Island?
Right. Well, that's the thing. So
I don't
what a
think he
hypocrite. First
Did he
off,
not go there?
well, I mean, there's pictures of
they were buddies.
They were pictures of him and Ghislaine and at parties
Really?
in New York. Yeah, there's that one where he's dancing, and there's like
he also liked women like Trump did, and he even liked some of the ones he liked were on the younger side.
I always thought Trump had that like Trump card. Like, I've never been on Epstein's Island, but you know who was?
Yeah.
The Clintons.
Caviezel is the Illuminati. I mean, they wouldn't allow this movie to come out. You got to have it come out at the right time. It took 5 years for it to come out. Problem reaction solution. Then Trump's going to be like, we're going after these pedophiles.
Chipping all the kids.
We're going to chip the kids, the beautiful babies. Operation Warp Speed. We're going to chip those beautiful babies so they don't get child trafficked.
Hollywood. Like what?
Dude,
like,
these fucking retards will fall for it. They'll be like, Orange Man said it. I should go get the jab. I'll go get it. I mean,
I've got my CBDC. Like, I'm ready to go.
Right.
Like, get
problem reaction solution.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Plus,
I just thought it was like, of course, someone's going to want to take advantage of it. But like, was there any evidence that the forces behind this film are trying to get kids chipped? Somebody pointed to the fact that some rich guy, Carlos Slim, was a funder, and he also funded Hillary Clinton, and therefore they're coming for your kids.
Right.
It's plausible, but it just seems a little unsubstantiated.
It takes a village, Hillary Clinton.
It takes a village to rape your kid.
Yeah, it's the whole. The children are all the communities. I mean,
you got everyone that donated money to Hillary Clinton. I guess by default, you should be considered a pedophile until proven otherwise.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you look who these people are tied to, and you follow the money. And it's like, okay, there could be something to it, or not. It could be from multiple angles. But anyway, we got to take some things over to the after hours.
Yeah,
one of the things we're going to show in the after hours is that video of that new weapon system from Israel. This thing will blow your mind.
Oh boy.
Hopefully not literally.
Oh man. Well, cool. Well, yeah. So we got to talk about that. We'll talk about some Jason Aldean country song I've never heard. I don't know.
Wait, why do you have your Venmo up, Otto?
Because I'm just trying to hoard myself for money. So that's at band in DC. You just want to send me money, man. I don't know.
What the fuck?
At BANNED.
No, just send the podcast money. Don't send this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're so sick of sending the podcast money and just like, oh, I got $5 extra. Here you go. So send it to Otto. I'll be
pathetic.
It's fine. Of course. You don't earn any money if you don't ask. So speaking of money, you guys sign up for our Patreon, please, before you send me money. Sign up for the Patreon for as little as $3 a month. You guys, will send you a link. You guys get to chime in live to our live podcast, which we're going to record right after this, our after hours podcast. Oh man, we get behind the scenes and we tell you some details. Like I got to tell you guys about the wedding I went to yesterday. Oh man, it was great. And talk about how Jared almost broke up with his Alex almost broke up with his girlfriend on Friday night. We'll talk about lots of fun things.
Jared's girlfriend relationship is still solid. His wife hasn't found
it's very
out.
private. I should have said it.
Yeah,
sorry, man. I didn't mean to blow your spot.
On the wraps.
Oh shit! I thought we were on after hours. Oh,
sorry. So sign up for as little as $3 a month to hear our after hours podcast, and you guys get access to all of our other after hours podcasts. And there's multiple levels you guys sign up for. $10 level, you get a free t-shirt. Sign up for $1,000 a month or Fed level, and I'll tell you all my personal secrets. $1,000 a month. I'm open for it. So go ahead and check it out. And if you guys don't feel comfortable donating on Venmo, then Venmo.
Then go fuck yourself.
On Patreon, then go over to PRLfans.com and find other ways to donate to the show, like Bitcoin. And until next, because you guys need to buy our t-shirts. That's right. Buy our t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. Use the code PRL or PRL podcast and get a 10% discount. Spend $50 or more and use the code PRL2 and you guys will get a 20% discount. And until next time, live free
or die.